Hello, guys, and welcome to the last stream before my vacation. So let's get into the action. Have a good one, and you will have some content until I get back. So that's the plan. We're gonna mix mostly tree betting. Sometimes we're gonna call. Let's see. Okay, folding there. Interesting hand on table number three. It was full on full. And the guy actually, if with the force, you're actually bluff catching, which is kind of insane, but he did bluff catch actually. Let's see a hand. Uh, yeah, when he jams here, he's saying he has a full house. He says he has a full, and he only reps Jack 9 actually. And the portion of Jack 9 that actually only called a small bet on the turn, which is kind of, yep, kind of really narrow. But he's actually saying he has a full house or a bluff because he jammed on orbit. This guy is saying, okay, I have a good trips or better, and this guy has I have nuts basically. Clear call with king 7, clear call. Generally really value heavy. Why I want to call? Why I only want to call? It doesn't have sense to play king queen like this. Small bet, check raise, 5x on the turn. It did go well for him. I thought he had like a pocket force and trying to induce because 5x raise on the turn, and we also like blocking 7-9 that can play like this. So it felt like pocket force, pocket 9s or king 9 because this big of the raise, and it was really big, doesn't have sense with the king queen. And also king queen is betting most of the time on the turn. So insane. It did, I mean, worked really good. And then I actually, he did trick me with the 5x. And also we're gonna look a lot like actually a draws there. When you think about of the board of the structure of the board, we're gonna have a lot of hands like a Jack 10. Um, when we played like this in this line and induce their has because it doesn't have actually, if you think about it, it doesn't have sense to check raise almost 5x on the turn and then go to block the river. Because on the turn, when I stab on the king XX board, I'm saying like I have a good king or better, and he goes 5x raise. Small 3-bet big blind versus button, 8.7, around 10 in this, so we're gonna just fold queen jack. Yeah, he did trick us there. I just didn't have any sense into blocking because his bluffs actually don't want to block. If he's having like a draw, I don't see like blocking on the river because I mean I'm calling basically every king X in this line. Um, and we also look like a probably like a weak king or a draw. Maybe against that range block, it's not that bad. I'm not sure. It's just looked like that 5x on the turn is it's very. I thought he's really getting polar because I mean my half pot on that board structure is actually a strong step. I'm actually saying I have a good king there or better, and he goes 5x on that. That is where it got out of hand. I was immediately thinking about, uh, but also that king 7 blocks like 7-9 that can play like that, and yeah, just a really heavy line in the vacuum. Probably it worked out great for him, really great, because I think he would have to call a shove there when he blocks. So we lost a lot of value there. He just have to call a shove. There's so many busted draws, and he's basically doing it for to induce a shove. Yeah. And it's always things like that can get me tricked in situation when I don't know the player. If I knew the player, if we played like 1,000 hands and I have some history, there's no way I couldn't predict that and to understand what he's trying to do. But they're like 5x on the turn and suddenly block on the river. It looks so trappy to me in this situation. And we actually lost around like 70 BBs there because if we shove, he just can't fold king queen. There's absolutely no way he can fold. Table number 2 overbet. I think it was a 3-bet pot and check on the flop and overbet on the turn. That has the most sense for this line. He's saying he has now a good king, like a king queen plus that he's gonna have. He's gonna also have the ace king that's not gonna bet the flop always. And I'm sure it was a flop check and turn over. It's a classic line and he played it good. Table number 2 we have a 3-bet and table number 1 we're folding and that's pretty much it. I played with this guy yesterday or day before yesterday. I'm not still sure what he is. He just started to play. Pocket fives are going to open. Do I have some read on this Proxa guy? No. Ace 10, we're gonna go 3-betting. King 9, we have clear call. Ace King suited is a shove. Always. King 9 is mostly a step. Queen 9 is fold. Jack 8 suited, we're going to be opening. This guy has also, I played with him, and I don't know, this guy also. In last like a few days, a lot of new players has been showed that I never played before. And also there's usually when the summer starts, the action goes down, but actually even with the scoop, there was like a lot of action. So something That's usually strange. Okay. Ace 5 6, we're going with the small. He doesn't have off two pairs, which is also important. And ace 5 suited distributing a lot of in the big blind, so he's gonna have a lot less two pairs. We are still in 1/3 size. I prefer that size actually on ace xx boards. Only on the like boards that I want to be polarized, I use the bigger size like 82%. But generally, I think 1/3 is the way to go. Uh, Checking behind queen 9. I think we're gonna just be to double check betting. We're gonna have bunch of jack X. I would step like a jack 8, and here on the river we have a clear, I think, over bet. With our hand. Pretty good river for our bluffs, so I think it's gonna be actually really successful in this situation. So I like it. King 8, table number 1. There are at least like 10 new players that I didn't play in last few days. And it's always I don't have now team stat name because um, I cannot make the payment. They want it only with the script with crypto, and it's pretty useful if you have it now just to see, is he a winning reg? Is he a winning reg? Is he the reg at all? Just to have some ideas, because his stats looks pretty crazy. 41, 32, three betting like 30% of the time. Definitely in this situation, until you get the sample, until you get the feeling for him, I don't have basically any read in these hands. So definitely it's not easy to play immediately. And we are a little bit in the dark, so we're gonna try to find out what are they doing. 52% bigger bet immediately we are calling, and pocket fives to this line. We're gonna fold until we know better about him. Also king 10, jack 9, check behind. I think it's the way to go. I would say that this bet check bet line would be really bluffy in this situation if he goes for it. Even his bet check bet is really low, but I think also in this spot actually they would go bluff way more. I'm gonna go with bigger size and clear check behind here. You see, like this hand you just need to be turning like threes, fours, fives. Okay, fives are like threes, fours, deuces, a bunch of ace X that you bet the flop you're gonna turn into bluff for sure. And he's not doing that. So if he's not turning that in this situation into bluff, and he's never gonna win with pocket threes ever, because all the hands I would bet every bluff on the river, and he's not gonna bluff catch with those. So definitely calling ace 10. Check raising it. We're gonna go 15.8. Falling to 4 bet. Here I'm gonna actually be checking. We're gonna have a lot of like queen jack with a backdoor flush draw hands. We're gonna have ace 5 suited. We're gonna have some 5 6 6 7, and all of these hands basically wants to check now. And we are calling a lot of. I would call against this guy with his three bet stats: pocket threes, pocket fours, pocket tens. We're mostly slow playing, so actually our value range will be mostly like threes, fours here, and pocket queens. And now is the question what we want to do. I would jam against this player ace 10. We're gonna have some queen jack with spade that we can play like this. Some ace 5 of spade, for example. So I'm gonna be jamming. And he would, how people play this spot, it's pretty. The pool plays like this. You go with the check raise on the flop, and even if it's small check raise, they just shove over pairs. Like a lot or most of the big players just do that. And what happens then? Then when they actually just call, their range will be a lot weaker. And when we check, they're gonna be overstepping here. So you can just punish them with shove. If you think he's gonna overbluff, you can just call. It's on to you decide. I mean, I would play like this. I would basically do like check range on the turn after I check raise and get this like 3 or 4. I would just check. I'm gonna actually go with small here. And against him, because he's such a wide guy, such a wide, I'm gonna actually just. Unfortunately, we don't get to do a check raise there. He didn't turn king into bluff. Strange. Okay. Blocking 9, not blocking hand like a. That's gonna call like jack 10 or queen jack. Think on the rear. Need to check, I think. And need to check is okay. Um, we're gonna go 10. King 8, we're gonna fold. 8 10 against 90% of range. Usually I'm 3-betting this hand most of the time, but here I will not do it. And here what we want to do, I think it depends on his stabbing, and his stab is really low. Uh, on this board actually I think 1/3 with usually a lot of Jack X boards wants to do 66, even some want to do 82. I'm betting the turn small. I think it's the way to go. Calling with 9-10. He should be checking range on this board or pretty close to it, like 20-30 bet. We're gonna go again to check raise. And here what we want to do. Think check. Check or block is both okay. Check or block. I would block with diamond. Basically, I want to block with diamond. 20% block on the river seems really good, but really good. Had the pocket nines. You see, when I decide do I want to donk or not, the first criteria I use is this is the board that's really good for a range. We should be do a lot of donking on this hand in this situation. Our hand fits perfectly into donk. Also, I mean, the solver always mix strategies. So solver will hear like donk half and he's gonna donk like a half of 9-10 suited. It's gonna check raise some 9-10 suited. It's gonna check call some. He's gonna use mixed strategy. What we as a humans, as playing players, want to be doing, we want to think, okay, what is optimal c-bet strategy in the GTO world? In here, it's gonna be low c-bet frequency because when we call like UTG against this size, we are calling all fours, fives, sixes, sevens, eights. So this board, actually, we're gonna have most of the times we're gonna have overpair plus basically here. Um, we're not gonna have a lot of off Broadway, so we basically lack air in this situation. We have all of the sets, and this board hits us really good. So we want to know, will our opponent know what is the optimal strategy? It probably not, because they are over c-betting. If the optimal strategy here is like c-bet 30% and like 20 if you have a strategy of c bet like 20 to 30, it's actually you're not losing anything if you go by checking range. And if the guy bets range in the spot where where he needs to bet like 20, 30 or check range, then actually your donk value goes way down, and then suddenly a check raising is far more appealing than donk. I would play only donk strategy against opponent that is GTO good at and he knows how these boards needs to be played as in position player. If he doesn't know that, I'm just gonna stick with check raising because you will punish them mostly with check raise. You're not gonna punish them with donk, especially this type of players. If he's gonna put a bet in, why would you go with the donk? If he's already gonna put the bet in with the range that should not be betting, by donking you would just play into his hand. Donking is very powerful, but you need to know when and against who you want to donk. I mean, uh, it's far better strategy avoid donking in situation where people oversee bet. Donk has only sense when you're not gonna face a bet very often. Then and your range is really strong, your range wants to have that bet. King Jack can go both ways. Checking and betting small. Betting bigger is out of the question. So we want to bet small or check. Against this guy, we're gonna go with the bet. 6-7. We're gonna open. This table will probably be broken, so we're gonna just go into the wait list. Just to be sure. It's better be sure than sorry, because sometimes it's happening that I basically we can only go 4 tables into the wait list. So sometimes it can happen that the wait list has like 5 people and we're not gonna ever get there. And that happened to me sometimes on the stream, and we are stuck with like 2 tables, 3 tables, and then we need to go to the Zoom, which is okay. Zoom is not that bad, but these tables are way better. Um, we're gonna bluff here like all pocket pairs always. So I'm going to just use like 2/3 size. If all the pocket pairs we bet on the flop as a bluff, and we're gonna bet all of deuces, threes, fours, some fives also. Um, Against many opponents, we can go a lot more, like maybe even to sevens turn into bluff. We're gonna just go there, and like this is absolutely without any sense. I'm saying I have a ace. He can have ace of clubs here, like ace x of clubs, and play it like this. Yep. That had sense that he can do. But I think generally what we want to do there, we actually want to be calling. I mean, he's saying we have. I mean, I see a logic there, but I don't like it. Falling to 4x. Against 4x, I'm playing 4 better fold. There is no calling range there. Um, when somebody uses 4x in position, I'm gonna basically always 4 bet or fold. Even this guy is pretty weak, so you can just run him over. He's losing like a 6, probably more. So you can run him over of post flop. But generally, when he's doing 4x, why have a call range? You want to punish this strategy by 4 betting. All the hands you want to play, you just go with the 4 bet. 6-7 suited mainly wants to be folding. If this guy actually shoved on the river against him, I would be folding actually. Donk of the flop is really, really bluffy. With the fishes and whales. Now I think it's folding when the river gets there. Ace queen, calling cut versus button in this situation. We're gonna four bet ace queen off, king jack off, king ten off, but ace queen off is always calling. 7.5, and it's actually calling on the flop a lot. Now we're gonna go actually big size. It's favorable board for our range. We want to be basically over betting the turn. It's nice that we also block aces with spade because these hands. He's gonna bet jacks. He's gonna bet queens. He's gonna bet mostly kings. Here we want to be bluffing without a spade for sure. Ace queen. We would bluff. I would bluff with six, with eight, with the jack. But when this ten hits, he can just easily also have a hand like a 10x the check behind the flop. And having this is not good as a bluff in this spot, so we're gonna be give upping with the ace queen of spades for sure. So there's a run out we're gonna bluff no matter. Uh, we're having a spade bad, but we're gonna still bluff a favorable run out for a bluffing range. This favor, and now he actually reps 10x here. I don't think he can bet like an overpair in this situation anymore. Uh, with with polarization of our range on the turn, he we are saying on the turn that we actually have like a two pair plus, and he actually can be betting, especially on that 10. I would bet also hand like ace 10 probably with when you block like aces, and gonna check with on the board like this. 6 8 9 against the cutoff board that's really really favorable for him. So we're gonna just start with the check call. If he wanted to bluff, he would bluff on the turn. So we're gonna go. We're gonna turn this into bluff. I mean, I would turn here hand like ace king into bluff, or like king nine. Now we have it. Now we have a straight. Generally, I don't have many straights, so I'm immediately thinking I'm gonna turn into bluff. But here I would like turn into bluff hand like ace eight suited. Easy, easy call. Insanely bad play by him. We're saying we have a straight. Block on the river here. One fourth. We should be betting the turn. I was in this hand, so I used out to check. Table number two, we're gonna. It's around like 50% of of c betting. So it's not like bet range. King Queen wants to be betting, of course. Um, 1/3 I'm gonna start. This guy has 47% of range. This is calling range, 32 and 15 is rebetting, so to mix it together, like 47% of range. It's pretty narrow range. I have like a 70 to 75% of range calling or tribeting into the big blind versus small blind. So I'm gonna call hands like a 4-6 off, 5-7 off, king 4 off, and I think generally in position you can defend all of these hands and play it profitably. It's wider than the GTO, but if like having position on weaker players that against weaker players generally can make these hands plus CV. A6 against basically UTG we're gonna be folding. So even if the hand is like 0 EV or losing slightly, I think in position you can turn it around, especially small blind versus big blind. The ranges are really wide. People don't know, not used to playing it that much. I played a bunch of heads up in my life, so it's much easier for me to play. And I think I always advise to widen up your big blind versus small blind range, especially against weaker players, because it's gonna be basically really profitable for you in this situation. We can bet here, we can check on the flop. I think both is fine. He's now saying he has a flush or like basically a flush. And he would also slow play here sometimes. Um, I don't want to turn ace-10 now into bluff into the range that is polar. So I think I have a clear call against that range. And he's doing that with a two pair, so it would work if we turn it into bluff. But I don't think like, okay, two pair. It's hard to have a two pair there. This hand is actually folding in the GTO. 3-7 is not defend, big blind versus button, and do 7. So it's hard to have a two pair except king 7, 6-7 suited. That is actually um, what is happening here. We're calling a7. Um, he basically can 6-7 off should be folding, 6-7 suited should be triveting a bunch. So actually, I didn't see a lot of except like a king 7 and set. So I thought basically a flush or a set, but he used it with this. We're gonna check raise here, and we're gonna go like this. I think it's fine. Uh, we're gonna use this nut flush with the backdoor straight draw on this board. That is nice for a small blind. We are getting it in. Um, we are basically flipping. The guy did actually use a cash out option. And these guys, I'm not sure what this guy is. You see how they play against the check raise. So that's why the check raising is so great. Because here I would be mostly bluffing with spades and without the heart. You see how they play against the check raise. It's so easy to play when they just shove over pairs. Or they just he doesn't think basically about his range. If it's range good for him, if it's range bad for him on the flop. Because that would should dictate your action. So if the range is bad for you and you face the check raise, you want to be defending a lot with calling and put a lot of strong hands into calling range because otherwise you're going to be crushed. You're going to be just run over. Your calling range will be a shit, and player will be aware of that and just going to bet turn and river. uh, Like even the bluffs, they shouldn't be bluffing when you're just facing the really poor range. Okay, ace queen is always call of the four bet. He's formatting bluffing range will induce ace 10 suited, ace jack suited, ace queen off. They have all of the combination of ace 10 off, of ace queen off. Let's see here, 4 bet against this guy. He used, let's see what ace jack suited. We're gonna fold ace jack off. Okay, now let's go into the 4-bet pop-up. His c-bet range in this situation is not the range bet. Ace queen is generally calling, wants to be calling. He's gonna bet this turn always. Now question is, do we want to shove here? Do we want to shove our ace queen because it's nice as a shove also, or do we want to be calling? Uh, Against this size, I'm gonna shove. Even I think you just can't go raw. Here, I think if he can go out of line there, and I think this player actually can. You see, he bet the king 10 on the flop, and we want him to bet this type of hands with their ace queen. I generally feel he's gonna bet like with this size, always hand like ace queen, ace 10 suited. Actually, so I just think, and generally, it's the fact that this type of um, this type of a scary card on the turn, they just gonna be over bluffing it. And here already range we have pocket jacks, we have king jack suited, and I have the ace king off in the range quite often, and I would be just jamming in when he used this size. I'm actually not interested in that more in calling. Um, he's using half pot, leaving 60 only behind. I'm generally want to now shove a lot, so I would be shoving here, hand like a jacks. I would be shoving king jack suited. I would be shoving all of my ace king hands, and like I don't see like better shove as a bluff with ace queen of hearts. Uh, I think it's just I think it's just like, and he snap called with king 10 like he like that super call, super easy call. I mean, against me it's probably easy snap call. People just play like this against me all the time. But generally, when you think about it, what type of bluffs we do want to have here? Actually, we call the 4-bet of 3x and check call there. I'm gonna go with 4-betting this 25.5. You know what the bluffs are gonna be? What bluffs are gonna have? Ace 10 of hearts. It's raising sometimes the flop. Ace queen of hearts is calling always. We're gonna call it sometimes. Against this size, I personally don't dislike calling. He should be using a lot less size to have a lot more fold equity on the reverse. And he snap call like I'm super happy to get it in with the king 10. Okay. Against him, I will be. I mean, we have nice hand turn into bluff, like blocking everything, but like blocking two pairs, blocking straights. But against him, against this type of players, I don't know. His bet fold is also really low, really low. That's why I don't like to do it. I'm gonna check behind King Jack, which I think it's also good. You want to have sometimes in the check behind. You want to when you check behind, you want to have flush. So definitely easy call on the river here. Um, the guy just snap call like King 10, like it's super great spot. But actually, when you think of our value range Ace King, Ace King off, pocket jacks, King Jack suited. Um, so we have a lot of value, and if you're using like bluffs with Ace 10 suited, Ace 7 of hearts, Ace Queen of hearts, we are still heavily under bluffing, and our bluffs have a bunch of equity against his hand. So definitely, I mean, Super snap call there. And when he used this bigger of the size, and also his hand on the flop is, I mean, King 10, I'm not sure if it's even a bet on the flop. Okay, it's King definitely, but King 10 and you just bet it. So they generally oversee bet in this situation. So that's why I have a raising range in position, because if you're not having raising range in position, then you're just playing in their hand. They oversee bet. The only way to punish them is by raising a lot. And generally, people misunderstand this concept. You have a hand and you're trapping them, it's not going to help you, because you're not going to often have a hand. But if you're creating your like raising in position range and he has a bunch of air, what's he going to do against that air? And you're going to use the size of the raising position that's going to heavily attack this. So it's not going to be big size, and he's going to be in trouble because he will not know, do I need to call like king 10 with backdoor flush draw there against this raise in position of 2.2x, let's say? If I have to call all of my ace kings, do I need to 3-bet with my ace king maybe? Stuff like that. So definitely, that is something I really like to do against this type of players that oversee bet, and most of them generally oversee bet. Um, Generally, they don't care about the range. Uh, And also King 10 is rarely a 4-bet in this situation. We 3-bet against UTG, like King Jack, King Queen, Ace Jack is mostly a 4-betting. Some Ace Queen suited is, but against us he just see. So that's why I also like to shove. We have a weaker player on the big line, so we're gonna be here. We're gonna go with general and Ace XX. You're stabbing polarized size. He check faults a bunch there. That's the problem. So check all fold is gonna be lower than usual. Even this turn is like good for our perceived bluffing range. Against this player, we're gonna be mostly facing the ace x, how he plays, especially when we use the bigger polarized size on the flop. Probably weaker player. And this is also, I'm not gonna rush, but probably is. And this is like 26-18 can be, probably is some kind of reg actually, and maybe this guy's also. So just for you to know how can you exploit them easily, just do a lot of check raising, and just know when they're calling a check raise, most of them actually will jam the overpairs. And what is really the worst thing, a lot of regs will jam aces. Aces that doesn't need any kind of protection, and it's like perfect just to let them bluff. They will be jamming. And if they jam aces there, if I see that the player is jamming aces, I write that note that he's jamming aces. And whenever he calls, I generally bet turn and shove river with everything I have. Because if he's jamming aces, he's jamming for sure jacks, queens, and kings, and he's gonna leg this overpairs in this situation, and he gonna sometimes you're gonna call with the topper. I don't care. My value range will now go always bet, no slow playing, no anything, and my bluffs, like, I'm gonna just turn them into bluff because their range is so weak. If he can just handle the range that weak to be calling a bet on the turn and shove the river, and we're gonna have a bunch of value in this situation. Just by over bluffing in this situation, we're not gonna get you. It's gonna be actually really profitable for you. So that's why the really good players has doing really small check raising like 2.2, 2.5. It's really, I mean, that happens most in tournaments. Like really good players just aware of that, and they're just exploiting this type of players really, really hard. And my pool is also like playing that terrible. I mean, in 4-bet pot, you check raise, they jam aces. They're just not thinking, okay, maybe he has a non-equity bluff, like a blocker bluff, like a unblocker bluff. Maybe it's good for his range. He's turning into bluff a lot of hands that our pairs have 90% equity on. And that's especially true if there's a flush draw there. I mean, then there's like always showing the over pairs. Ace 3, I'm gonna fold. Call on the turn. Blocking ace king is pretty standard call on the turn. And on the river, we're gonna fold. Our king jack. Checking behind. 8 9, he turned into bluff. He didn't bluff the river. Okay. Now we're gonna mark him as a weaker player or fish or whatever. And we're gonna fold there. And I didn't read anything about this concept anywhere. Uh, People will not gonna tell you that. And I basically learned that through studying MTTs. I learned that when I was facing a couple of really good players on the MTT, when they would like massively check raising me in this situation, and they would use like really small sizes. And actually, my first reaction to that was I'm gonna call a bunch when they do this small check. I'm not gonna like shove uh, really because they were actually continuing a lot on turn and rivers. And I was like, first, my instinct was okay, they probably see that the pool is like overly playing aggressively with their overpairs, and that's for sure. Now I'm 100% that's the case. And then I was asking myself, how far can you go in this situation? And when you just enter into PO and you go node lock and you put the day shower all your over pairs, PO will be just going crazy with bluffs. So that's what these like really good players were doing. They were just basically massively exploiting the pool in this situation. I'm not thrilled, guys, here actually. 26-16, we are tributing UTG and he goes with the shove. But generally, from what I'm seeing, they will not gonna play aces ever like this. So he's gonna go like 14, 15 with aces. So he's gonna mostly have a ace king or pocket queens in this situation. And this guy had kings. Um, we basically have to be calling ace king. So not the thrilled. It's only 50 hands. The stats can be misleading in this situation, and he's gonna be shoving probably jacks and queens, ace king, aces for sure, not based on my experience, never. Kings, okay, kings they're maybe more afraid. Generally, they will also kings do with like a small four bet or something, not a jam. But we have tricky guys like calls. It seems king five. We're gonna be three betting, and unfortunately, we're gonna have to be folding it. You know, you just can't learn this thing by just working into solver. You will never learn things like this because in the GTO versus GTO strategy, it's completely different world than what is actually happening in game. And to be able to learn stuff like that, you need to experience them first. I learned first when I experienced that I just noticed, wow, it's insanely how much check raise is going on with these like top players and insane how much they are continuing on turn and reverse. And that's when I started to understand why are they doing that. And it has like perfect logic. Okay, what is double barreling range here? We have a bunch of eights. We have king queen off in the range, and he double barrels here. So what he's saying, he has. I mean, this player will probably bet. He's gonna probably bet a set also here, but with this size, I'm not sure. So I would say he's saying he has a straight. on the turn. He's not gonna have many 8x hands. Do we want to be donking the river here is the question. Let's see what he had. Okay. He didn't bluff with the king 5 after 8. I mean, we don't have many straights actually. Um, king queen should be probably sometimes raising um or decent amount of raising. We have queen jack. We will turn some like hand like a queen 9 into bluff, I would say. Ace queen we 3-bet. We're gonna basically have queen jack off. Queen jack suited is 3-betting. We're gonna have queen 10 off, and that's it. We're gonna check behind. Gonna go 1/3. Guy falls to delay way much. Against him, I think it's a really good idea to just to delay and bet the river. Against him, I would be checking here, and against this guy, we are not having call range. Ace 5, we're gonna go call. And here we're gonna go, we can go block or I'm actually gonna go, I'm gonna actually go block. Block or bet big, or bet like 3/4. These are our two options. Block, but small block on the rear here. Our range is in trouble. We're not gonna have a really great full houses. Like the most we're gonna have is like sevens. And I think we just want to be really passive on the river and really small, uh, generally really small block. Clear call with pocket eights. 4-5 suited. 3-betting sometimes, mainly folding, I think. Queen 8 off. We're gonna be folding. Um, I would say that we want to block or bet like with pocket aces. I would say block or bet like 3/4. I don't mind an orbit also. We can also orbit with aces actually because just people have really poor checking ranges, and when it's like that, basically we can just exploit this fact and do it. But because I have only 19 hand, he seems aggressive. That's why I blocked with my hand. Generally, weaker players react to blocks a lot different. Against him, I will call, only opening 11% now. Um, they know to react a lot different than the regs. They just have bunch of random raises, bunch of random raises. It's really passive. He can check hand like ace 5 on the river or like ace jack off that he floated the flop on 1/4. He called 3-5. I think we have to mark him also. 24.5. Three betting 22%, falling to 4-bet a bunch. Now when I say I think we want to go lower size actually. Let's go 8.6. There's also one cool strategy that I want to tell you. When you are facing polarized 3-bet range, your 4-bet size should go down in theory. Why? Because polarized 4-bet range has hands that crush, a lot of hands that crush your 4-betting range also. It's gonna have this nuts region. Um, and he has a bunch of hands that can actually call a 4-bet. When he's 3-betting polarized on the big blind, he's gonna have hand like ace 3 off, ace 6 off, ace 7 off. He's gonna have hand like 8 9 off, jack 9 off, 8 10 off. All of these hands are mixing 3-betting. Jack deuce suited, uh, 5 10 suited. So all of these hands are mixing 3-bets in big blind versus small blind. So if you're going with a big size, you're just risking money, more money, and I did that exactly now. Risk more money, and these hands uh, still not gonna call big 4-bet size or lower big 4-bet size. You just risk less money, and the result is the same. So basically, when it's a situation like that, and you're facing the polar range that has bluffs that can never call a 4-bet, and has hands that can call a 4-bet and hands that can shove on your 4-bet, it's just better to tone down the size. So you can go like, I would say, when he goes 9, you can go like 21 to 21, I would say. You can do it if you want. If you're facing linear range, then I still would suggest you stick with the normal sizes. Stick with the normal sizes if the range is linear. And I see still in the game that actually a lot of guys use linear 3-bit range. And I want to show you one cool thing also. What is the max exploit? I'm not gonna have it here with, I have it in PO, but I'm gonna tell you it's for sure. When somebody is 3-betting linear range, big blind versus small blind, and that linear range is around 12%, that we have here, like Tudor, we have Martin, we have, let's see, who we also have, the Proxa, even less, a lot less. Um, Let me see more. Uh, Basically, a lot of regs are gonna have this type of 3-bet range, and actually, what you want to do against these players is 4-bet a bunch and have a really, really narrow calling range. So you're gonna 4-bet ace queen, most of ace queen. You're gonna 4-bet most of king queen. You're gonna 4-bet most of ace jack off. You're gonna 4-bet most of the king 10 suited, king jack suited, queen jack suited, and a lot of ace 5 suited, ace 4 suited, and actually you're gonna overfold your suited connectors. They don't like to play against that range. They'll not play that great. You don't want to be calling your worst pocket pairs anymore. So definitely something to have in mind. That is max exploit strategy. 65% of range. 130 is fine. This range, I mean, he should be having, but this guy doesn't have king 4 off. So he basically doesn't have any off 4x except the ace 4 off, which is also sometimes 3-bet. So we can just bet more. I think this guy's overfolds. I think, yeah, really overfolds to flop c bets. Calling queen jack off. It's insane how this. If you're facing, for example, normal range in the big blind, you are calling ace seven suited. You are calling king eight suited. You're calling jack eight suited. You're calling four five suited. You are calling ace ten off. You are calling king jack off, and suddenly you are folding a bunch and four betting, basically mostly four betting, and have a narrow calling range, and you're just exploiting them with max. Really, really good to know, because I would say that on also many pools, the situation is that a lot of players are using that strategy, which is basically wrong strategy, and a lot of people are not actually. I'm gonna go one third. People are actually not responding good enough to punish these players, because these players needs to be punished. They are needy. They are. I mean, just exploit them max as you can, and you should. They're not playing poker. Poker is beautiful game, creative game, full, and you're gonna have with that range. You three bet, you don't have any problems on any board. You know, you three bet 12% of hands. You're three betting eights, ace jack off, king queen off, suited broadways, ace four suited, ace five suited, some suited connectors, and that's it. You know, I mean, and if you're gonna call against their 12%, you're gonna call the normal range that has ace 10 off, you're gonna be in trouble. So definitely, uh, players that have bunch of bluffs, and big blind gonna have bunch of bluffs. So you need to be skillful in this situation. You really need to be skillful to be able and creative and learn and study to be good in these spots. But players who have 12%, they don't have to be anything. They can just click a lot of time bet on all of these good Broadway boards. They can just play without having basically, if they're if they are against a range that shouldn't be there, they can just have an easy game. And if you're like mostly formatting them, they will be just like, what is going on? I'm never facing calls. They just fold or forbet punch. And now when when they forbet me, what I'm gonna do with the ace jack off and a king queen off? Do I want to call these hands in a forbet? What I'm gonna do with these suited connectors I have? And actually against this calling range, if they like call their four bet with 6 7 suited, okay. If they're call four bet with king queen, okay, you're gonna have ace queen, you're gonna have ace jack off, you're gonna have ace jack suited, you're gonna have ace queen suited always there. Calling here. I think this is actually a cool spot for donking on the turn. We don't have blockers, but actually we will not have much blockers, because our calling range is ace 8 off there, and ace 9 is a straight. So actually I like this play with this hand. It's now fold. We have to fold king queen off against this guy. Three betting, I think, for sure. Let's see what this guy opens. 38% on cutoff, which is, and four bets first time 3x. Okay, you got it. It's your pot. We're not gonna have a call range to 3.1x. We're gonna shower fold. We are going 10, he goes 31. I don't see much incentive to calling against the guy that opens 39%. 3.1x in position is pretty insane. Usually want to go 2.2. 1/3 here on a king jack 3. Pretty tight narrow range I see. Let's see, he has ace deuce off. Okay, but he had it only on a 2.2 size. I don't think this guy's calling hand like a jack 9 off or queen 9 off on a big blind, which should be calling, but I don't think he is. King 10, yes. I don't see king 9. Okay. And here I would be donking. I would be donking here a lot of flushes in this situation. We don't have a hard, but actually it's hard to have a hard there. Uh, yes, we can have ace 9 of hearts. That's a straight, and I would actually ace 9 with ace of hearts, and I would donk it for sure. When he raises there, I mean, he needs to call also a lot of ace king actually in this situation. So when he raised me here, and this guy can raise like, I don't think he knows this spot from what I play with him and from what we also talked about some spots. And when he used like this size, polarized size, I think he's also full of it. So I would be back raising here. So now is the question: do I want to be having hand like ace 10 with the ace of hearts? Do I want to turn that hand into bluff maybe in this situation? Uh, Calling on the flop. Uh, Table number 4. We sometimes also 3-bet big blind versus button. Nice turn for his range. This is really nice turn for his range. Against him, I will be actually folding this hand. Bet check bet here with the big size. Again, what he's wrapping with this big size? Is he betting a queen jack on the river now? The hand that wants to bet check bet. I don't think it's using this size. This looks bluffy to me. I mean, our hand is a fold after check check turn and bunch of bluffs in this line. I'm gonna be calling this guy off. Weaker player like 90%. And here actually I just go a lot of shoves when he uses 15. Against 10% of range. Not that great. I don't close the action here, so I can call and this guy can just jam for whatever reason he can, and then we are wasted the 15 blinds that I don't want to do. There's I have some shoves in this spot. Shoves like pocket jacks, ace king sometimes, and I do like a bluffs like ace 5 suited or ace 4 suited. Because the problem with calling is that we don't close the action, and this guy, like if he's having, let's say, pocket sevens, he could just strip it in then, and this guy will immediately rejam, and then we're just fucked, you know. Sorry for the word, for the bad language. It I just spoke it from my mind. but generally it happened a couple of times to me, and I even had, I think, like hand like a pocket jacks or tens, and it was like really disgusting. Actually, not a bad turn to be donking, and I'm gonna be doing it. We're gonna just stick with, I think he's just not gonna know how to respond well in this situation. He just raised the donks. He raised the donk here with a flush draw. Okay, we have clear call now. And we're gonna start with him just donking the nuts also. And this river is really bad because now he's bluff. We saw that he's raising a draws, and he's gonna raise hand like a queen jack. That's always c betting the flop. He's generally bluff raising in positions gonna contain a jack because jack is blocking a straight when we donk. So pretty unfortunate run out. Basically any brick, any other brick, we're just gonna be calling easy call, easy. And this is the worst because his bluffs will be like king jack, queen jack. He can turn hand like a jack 9 into bluff for sure. Maybe even jack 10. He just gets the run out like last few times about me. Really, really good runouts he gets. And I mean, I could just, we'll just start to be donking a lot stronger range. This is like pure donk on the turn. We're gonna face a lot of checks. Uh, he's also not double barreling that much, so for sure I think donking. And if I think he's going over the line, I mean, but I don't want his, when he goes like this big size, he's saying, okay, he's saying, but I'm sure he's gonna basically over bluff this line, but he's basically saying I have the goods into their our donking range, and I want to keep his bluffs there. So I mean, if the turn is a six, I'm gonna call. If the turn is a jack, I'm gonna call because he will turn a jack into bluff, and he's not gonna have many 8x hands. So generally, whatever river comes except of eight, I'm snap calling. And this guy has low check raise, big fold. I'm going to be checking, and we can again run into it. Let's see here. Check, check, check. After check, check, turn in position. This is for value. I think fold is okay because of his 65 c-bet in position. A lot of bluffs that is just gonna bluff. They're just gonna bluff the flop. We also have really good table. A really, really good table. I'm gonna actually leave this one and come to that because uh, Big Whale has 500 blinds and we're actually in position to him. I don't like to switch it, but in position, but in this case, it's really good to do it. And the other guy also have 320. This guy has 300 almost. So maybe we will play deep if we get some stacks in. We're gonna play deep. That would be great. So let's try to do it. It's gonna be also interesting. We can put a lot of pressure deep. And this guy is loving the action. 40-27. a lot of three betting. It's gonna be interesting for sure. We're gonna have one longer stream today or longer video today, and I will not be like I think around 10 days here. So I just wanted to give you some contents, maybe have a good interesting hands where you can see how I analyze it, how I think about these hands. A lot of my opponents are also watching it, so maybe I shouldn't be speaking all about it, but I can't help it. I always say what I think 100%. 3 bet, big blind, small size, easy call, king 10 deuce. You can go polar, you can go 1/3, both is okay. Mixing it, some part of range put in 1/3. You want to put 1/3 like kings, like tens, you want to put in 1/3 deep. I would put in the 1/3 hand like a small king X, king 10. I would definitely put this type of hands into 1/3. My good bluffs like combo draws like ace jack of clubs, ace queen with 1/3. I would put hand like a jack 9 only with the gutter into big size. I would put ace king always into big size. Aces for sure. Then you have a really good mix of hands. You're gonna be harder to play against for sure. Because in many situations only one side is not gonna make a job done. Just think about like small boards, a lot of jacks, tens, queens, want to bet big, kings, aces, want to bet small or smaller. But generally the low boards are unique because uh, you don't want to you, like the a lot of purpose is just to not giving your opponent to realize equity basically. So but there's a lot of different boards like connected boards like connected low boards like for like 4, 6, 7 where you just have to have multiple sizes. Generally it's they are smaller like between 1/3 and like 60 like b60 but still. We bet flop big, so Jack is crazy good for us. We bet the flop big, the Jack is good for us. Should be 3 betting ace Jack off, but he is maybe not. Think we just have to bet King 9 for value. We have a bunch of bluffs here that I would bluff. We have a bunch of gut shots, bunch of open enders. Jacks hits us really good. He has bunch of pairs, not a lot of 4x, not a lot of Jack X floating the flop. Split. What happened there? This guy won another pot, I think. I don't know, small one. So he's over 500 now, okay. We need to also be aware of what they are doing. Crucial, just to see. I think he's not aggressive on the turn, but he is really aggressive on the river. Let's see his river pop up, just to have an idea. Is he bluffing a lot? Okay, turning into bluff, Jack 5. Pair into bluff. Miss a draw, folded a king queen. Let's see the context of the hand. So he did bluff 6-9 here also without not wrapping basically nothing. 3x only on the river with that double barrel and triple. And let's see what happened there with the tens and the ace queen. Bet the flop, bet the turn, and give up the river. Against this play, I'm mixing on the button, 3-betting this hand. I don't Sable I didn't play like really long time and I don't have any read on him. 1.3k hand but played a lot before, so I actually don't remember anything about him. Opening here, table number 3, folding rest on these tables, even Steven. This guy is also unfamiliar. On Juancho, we played for the last few days. Okay, I have a big read on him. And that's good. After I'm back, I'm gonna switch a room. So these are the like finals of majority of my stars action. We're not gonna have too much of 8x that didn't stab here. I mean ace 8 I wouldn't stab, but generally against double check range I think it's fine. Ace 8 I wouldn't stab, and I wouldn't stab some like pair with an 8. 35 went to showdown. I don't like it, but I think I just have to do it. He's gonna still have hands like a pocket fives, pocket fours with a diamond, hand like ace jack with the ace of diamond, which or with the jack of diamonds, stuff like that. So I think I just have to pull it, and we still have some 8x, and we don't have a diamond, but we are wrapping basically straight, and we are called with the a7. Yeah, the guy is having 35 when to showdown. It's not ideal, but when I'm betting the turn and get a blank, if I decided to bet against a double check range that's gonna be weak here, I'm just gonna always, if I'm betting the turn, I'm bluffing the river for sure. And even my range doesn't have a lot of eights, it still has some of them. We're gonna check even some flush draw. Mostly I would check like a not flush draw. And it's always cool to check back some combo draws like a king 8 of diamonds. But on the river I would probably overbet also a lot. Here I would just bet like 8x here, so just 8x. I'm gonna check raise against him on the flop, and I don't like when this player check behind on the king 5-5. He's c-betting 60%. He's gonna bet like all queen jack, queen 10, jack 10 on the flop. Uh, Against me, he will probably check back like a lot of low king x hands. And it's also nice when you just know they're gonna be delay c betting often, because in this situation you like to go for a check raise in this spot, and I think this is the perfect spot for that. Because when they're not c betting king xx and he has a like higher c bet frequency, he's gonna always have something, and he's gonna often bet the turn in this situation. And also he would bet like hands like nines, eights for protection. So mainly he's gonna be checking behind like hands like a jacks that basically doesn't need like a queens on the flop, and some like king x's against us that because we will stab. And yep, I think that's then a good idea, just to anticipate when they're gonna delay a lot and put a lot of on the check raise in this situation. Mix with a call and a four bet. I will four bet this time, and again we're gonna be four betting. We are never calling here, so we are basically only four betting. I'm gonna go 10% here. I'm gonna turn jacks into bluff here. This is basically bottom of our four betting range. And we have a bunch of ace queen off. That's like the key in here. We have a bunch of ace queen off. We're gonna four bet, so I think it's okay. We have tens and jacks as a bottom in these positions of our four betting range. Big, big. You can mix big size, small size. Usually, when you have a big range advantage, you can go whatever. Um, you can attack because here he should be actually always three betting tens, mostly three betting sevens, and all distributing kings, so he doesn't. We have enormous nuts advantage in here. We have enormous advantage of the top pairs also. He should be tributing king queen ace king, king jack suited, king 10 suited, so we have just majority of this board just crushed, and you can then go decide what is your idea how you like to play. His fold is 31 to c bet, so against him I would take this board with the orbit size immediately a lot. Think it's a good idea. 9, 10. We're gonna just try it. If we are not playing, we're gonna play other people hands. We're gonna try to see what are they doing. Try to okay. Let's see. Table number 2. Bet shove. Interesting play. This guy bets almost the pot. I want to see here hand from the beginning. Usually when somebody bets a pot here, he's polarized and he's saying he probably has a jack or a bluff. So in this situation, I don't see value of a shove. As he steps, this guy check raises. Just look at here. He's gonna check raise a bunch of queens, kings, and aces in this situation. This guy calls and he checks, and now he says, "Okay, I have a jack," and this guy goes into shove. I think like this is like perfect situation. Against this unknown guy, I'm gonna fold ace jack suited in these positions. My heart hurts when I need to fold hands like that, but he looks like really low. 3-bet frequency. Even this guy is a weaker player. He opened UTG and this is opening like he did open 12 till now. Now it's 18, 16. So this guy says I have a jack or a bluff, and this guy goes into shove. Generally, in this situation, you want to do a lot of calling because a lot of your overpairs like kings and aces. Basically, when you shove, what you're gonna get called by in this situation, you're gonna be called by a jack. So shoving kings and aces, I don't see like any value of it. Queens, okay, I understand, because getting the protection is important, and I would like mainly shove queens, and it's like hard to be balanced here. This guy says he has a jack. You can have bluffs; it's not that important, but I mean, when you're calling, when you're calling, it's definitely weak. It will weaken your range, and you can just trap this guy. I mean, his aggression on the river is like insane. It's 45 and he's polarized. Whenever you're facing a polarized range, it's basically they're saying they have it or they are bluffing it. And if you're shoving, they're gonna fold off bluffs and they're gonna just call their value hands. So you're like value hands losing value if you go and shove them. Okay, some hands want to protection like queens, but that's basically it. I don't see like anything else except the queens. A really interesting hand. We have to call here because here, I mean, he's never bluffing with the check raise into the four people, and our hand is really nice because if we hit it, it's gonna be we're gonna just get paid in the massive pot. So, and we do hit it. Jack 10, I don't think this guy is calling a check raise in this situation with the Jack 10. So I think our outs are clean. I think the Glorian will think that 9 is actually not that bad. I'm gonna call here. And I'm gonna dunk shot this. He has 42. I think he reps. He has two pair basically. Donk shove the river. I mean, I still think he's gonna shove set here. So I think it's the same. I just called it because I want to Glorian in, but he did probably bluff. I mean bluff. I'm not sure what to bluff there. I'm gonna call here. Uh, block block the river here. We want to be blocking the river. A lot of 10x should be betting the flop. So I'd say he's like probably like pair of sevens, fours, something like that. So I really like a block on the river. And we're gonna go 10.5. Yeah, I just wanted to Glorian in, and if I have a two pair, for example, if I hit the two pair, we would be calling basically because our two pair is based on the two pair, but it's mostly bluff catching. I would say we're gonna have some hand like a 7-8 of hearts, for example. It's only wants to be calling there 2.6 3 bet fold. So I just want to be calling there. I think Jack 10. I don't think we're gonna have. It's really low equity in a multi-way. So I won't, but we're gonna have 9-10. We're gonna have 9-10 because the same that we have 5-6, we're gonna have 9-10 also. So definitely, I think call on the turn, and we can just when we call, I think Glorian has to think, okay, he would probably shove like if he have a straight or a set, and when he check raises there, I mean he can check raise hand like ace king, and he will probably fold ace king in this line actually when this guy bets and we call. Yes, but I don't think he will ever fold a two pair here. Based that this is weaker player and his stabbing range can be like whatever. So I think definitely, yep. Our call I like. Even hand like a 9-10, we don't, we will not shove it. And here we are actually going against him. We'll go 8. He's not falling to 3 bet that much, so we will go to 8. He's opening UTG 34. So he's peeling there with a 6 off. He's gonna have king 9 off. He's gonna have a bunch of hands, and I don't like this at all. Call for in this situation, first call for, but he can have it. I'm gonna fold nines. And that's why I hate when I don't have sample and idea how they play. I don't like playing until until I figure them out. Because here I have to fold nines, you know. I have to fold in this situation, and I don't like folding that much, you know. If you fold, you will not win a hand very often, or never. You will win money by folding for sure. If you fold to the players you need to be folding against, then you will make money by folding, but you will not win a hands. But actually, by winning money, you win generally. But still, I don't like folding. If I could see the hand they had, then it would be more appealing. You know, you folded and you see it, you were right. Then I would like it more, but you will not see it. And when I make a big fold, usually like 3 days, I'm just thinking about that fold. And I just go myself and I say to myself, Marco, don't ever make again a big fold because you will gonna be just thinking about the hand too much and it's not like worth. Just like pay $200 just to see a hand and that's it. You're at least not gonna torture yourself. So I'm basically not that big fold type of guy because basically what you're doing with folding, what I mean, you're gonna torture yourself for amount of the money you needed to pay. So you just need to think, is the fold worth of it? Generally, it all comes to that. What is worth to you more, your peace of mind, or and I'm only basically speaking about big folds. But then when you pay off the need, that comes the other side of reality. It goes like you feel like shit. You pay the guy, he's not bluffing anything. You pay him out in a spot with where, for example, it's tough to bluff. That's why whenever I'm in like that type of spot, big spot, you beat a bluff, you're in the big spot. I always ask myself if I would bluff this spot, if I know what are the bluffs, and would I bluff it? If I wouldn't bluff it, I'm not gonna call them ever. But I mean, it still sometimes happens. But generally, if I wouldn't bluff the spot, I would I will not call them. And whenever when from time to time we're gonna get to the spot where I wouldn't bluff, and I call on it. For example, I didn't have a sample, and after a few days, it seems that he's a really big nit, and you call it. Then it's gonna be torturing me even more. So you never know. It's not good one way or it's not good another way. You just have to feel the guilt in one or another way. So okay, let's get back into the game. I did talk too much about this stuff, but it's still also really it's really interesting topic, you know. Let's get back into the tables. Table number three, we have the X-Men 43-23, aggression 44, betting here. Probably three bet pot, probably see bet flop, probably the guy is polar and say he has a two pair plus. This guy looks like capped, I would say to king maybe. Seems like that. Maybe queen jack or queen 10 has also a lot of sense. This size doesn't have a lot of sense. You're polar, you want to go all in. You said you have two pair on the turn. Two pair wants to jam. Two pair wants to get all money in. You said I just don't understand this. I mean, obviously this guy will never bluff, but I just don't understand why you didn't why you didn't why didn't shove. I mean, why go now, leaving yourself a bit. That is thing that I don't understand. Did guy this guy did slow played. So really unfortunate for X-Man. He should be forfeiting this hand always in these positions. This deep still always forbet. And unfortunately he did get really big setup. He played it correctly. The river is just a jam and that's it. Low c-bet frequency here. Our hand is mixing steps and checkbacks. If I'm stepping here, I want to go bigger, I think. We have some of the ace queen is calling off, some of the ace queen. Generally, I think we have some queen 10, queen jack. Against a no, no, I'm gonna check behind. We would continue 9 10 for sure, and ace 10. Ace 10 blocking aces and ace queen. What happened there? Again, we had to fall there. Nines are clear call in this situation. Let's see what happened with 7 8. This guy called with pocket nines, I think, and he stabbed the flop with. Okay. We're gonna go 10.1. Again, this against this got so sway not nickname. He calls a bunch of hands. Fortunately, he folds now. When people fold, when this guy folds like 23% and opening a lot, I'm gonna just against this type of players, I'm gonna just three bet a little bigger, and just to have them, just to play basically bigger pot against them. So that's why we did. We are polarized on the big blind. We're gonna use polar size 12.5 with our hand, which is pretty nice. Strong board for a range. We're gonna have nines in the range also. Sometimes calling, mix it, calling it. I mix it, calling. GTO I think prefers calling actually. So it's a really really great board for a range. We're gonna bet 1/3. It's gonna be good size in this situation. Here actually I wouldn't have a multiple size, just 1/3. Clear call with the king queen. Call with this against 2x. Basically against weaker players I'm calling. Basically all it has some playability. I'm gonna also float here. King queen we're gonna call. Polarized range. Think check on the. So we're still gonna have a lot of pocket pairs like fours, five. It's just that don't want to. It doesn't want to be blocking it on the river. And we have the. You see, 5-10 going to showdown. I want to see this. I want to see that he goes to showdown with the 5-10. Because if he's not bluffing 5-10 in this situation, what hand is he bluffing in this spot? So he has zero bluffs in this situation. I don't see much worse than 5-10 three betting. What is the worst? At basically the bottom of his range. And I'm gonna write this down. And also queen, you think when you think about queen, he's gonna hit some of his bluffs like a queen 10, queen jack, ace queen. And he didn't want to rep like that queen also. Our range looks like a lot of pairs here. Threes, fours, fives. You have aggression of 44 and you are not bluffing at 10 high. That say that his range is that strong that he can do it without bluffing. Because no good player on a run out like this, where has a lot of queens c-betting the flop, give upping on the turn will never have like checking behind 10 high. Against 1/3 we can occasionally do it. With a pure gut shot I'm gonna be folding to raise on the ace high board. And 8 high next to it. We have a hand on table number 2, big hand, big pot. We're gonna see this hand for sure. I want to see it. Really interesting hand. He didn't turn this into bluff. Okay. Let's see, guys, what happened. I want to know. Jack 3 will be folding. I want to know here what happened. 3-bet call. C-bet call. Bet big call. And check on the river here. Hmm. Having king is important. Not just that you bluff like block a king queen, you're blocking king jack here. And the way that Glorian also is playing, I don't think he's slow playing a king jack there the way he plays. Just think that he did bet here. How profitable he would get here. I don't think the Glorian would ever call him in this situation. After calling turn in position, Glorian folds 57, 75, like 47. Like, if the guy did have this, for sure he would just stick it in on the river like bet big. Ace 10 is a fold. I also feel that Glorian did tank. I think he also thought maybe to turn it into bluff, because he did tank too much for like snap check of the hand. Don't turn again. Against this size, we have an easy game. He's raising every single donk, and by the reason he 2 times he actually I had a trips, he had a full house, and he raised the donk, I back raise, and he go with the 4-bet on the flop immediately. I'm gonna go with the call 4 here, and I'm gonna go with betting small in this situation. We have a weaker player, and we are folding here on the shove. He gone through from 2 to 8. Last time he go from 2 to 9. Just observing it. So I think he over raises donks, and yep, this is like really cool spot for donk on the turn. And when he use this size, I generally would only have a shove size. We go on 2, he goes 28. I don't see like what point we want to call there. So against him, we want to donk value on the turn, clear spot. But of course I'm gonna do it on the turns that actually hits us, like this one. A6 against 2.2, I think it's okay to call. Against 2.5, ace 8, we are defending. On the mountain board, we'll be betting 0.4. One third. He's gonna have a lot of nines, tens, eights, jacks with the club. They're gonna play like this always. And here we need to be creative with our bluffs a lot. How I get into this spot, I'm not sure. Did I limped? What happened there? I'm not sure. But pretty strange hand happened, I must say. We're gonna check raise pocket fours. We're gonna bet it big. We want a diamond. But I'm gonna go for it. Just having like ace jack, ace queen really sucks. Also really under bluff spot. Table number 4. We check behind the flop is that is not great for us. Guess this size I'm gonna actually raise. Generally, from what I see from him, that he did use a lot bigger sizes with the value hands, not a half pot. So he used 0.6 to 0.8 with his like trips. So and my jacks needs protection. The board is good for the big blind. Generally, I mix with betting jacks and check behind. Generally, want to be checking behind queens, kings, and aces. Bet a lot more jacks, but still, I mix it sometimes in like I did now. Board you should be betting range. He's not betting range for whatever reason. He's not doing it. Don't know. He serves C bet 27. Maybe that's the reason. We're gonna raise here to this size. Even this, when the size gets bigger, actually you want to be raising less because he's more polarized. We have the good hand to check raise. I'm just thinking, do I want to check raise multi-way or just call it? I'm actually gonna call it. He uses small size with his like bluffs or low pairs. We're still calling here with our gut shot and the flush draw. Think this river he will be checking behind. Yep. He bluffed with the jack 10 and overbet the turn. Yeah, the flop check raise now goes. I don't know what to think about him. I just generally think he's bad actually. I mark him red, but he does so many stupid things. And when we also discuss hands, he was completely out of the logic. I'm just gonna mark him as a weaker player. I just can't mark him. I mean, he's winning player and everything, but I just can't mark him as a block the river here with the 7-8. He does the. I mean, he's using like a pot bet, and he's all betting the turn when I call that big bet. I just don't. I don't like it. It's totally. I mean, you can't play as an exploit in a multi-way pot like this, actually. So okay, I'm mixing check calling and check raising and betting in this situation. And here with having 10, it's not that great. Having 10 is actually bad. Hmm. Um, I still call the turn. This size is really under bluff size in position. And we have kind of nice hands to turn into bluff shove. I'm still not like I still think he's value betting range. Is he like value betting two pair in this run out? I mean he can probably with this size. Until I have a better understanding, I'm not gonna turn this into bluff. Even I like it. Even I like it actually. I'm gonna check jacks there. I'm gonna go 8. We're a little bigger, so I'm gonna go 8. We're gonna go have the turn, and we're gonna see on the river a lot of. We're gonna do a lot of blocking on the rivers. A lot of block. This is one of the like best candidates for a block 1/4. Insanely bad board into the squeezed pot. Calling nines. Gonna go 1/4. Let's see, just to see. Do I want to delay turn here? I would be bluffing hands like pocket trees here, pocket deuces. Yeah, I just think we have to call there. I would generally having nine of hearts, and generally I would think he needs to bluff with. I mean, I'm checking this board ace 5 4 a bunch. I use the small size with the three bet, so he's gonna call all those deuce. I mean, deuce probably all the deuces threes were deeper fours fives. Ace 4 suited, ace 5 suited, so it's gonna hit him decently so that he's also calling hand like ace queen off, which should be called sometimes, but not really frequently. And when we're going deep, the ace queen goes down, so I like GTO calls it like 15%, I think, and I think in this situation actually like 20, and in this situation I think it should be going into the 4 bet range most. So when the river he reps deuces, threes, backdoor flush, and he's gonna stab. I think a lot of in my checking behind range. He's gonna just stab a bunch. So I generally missed the lazy bet on the turn here. I think that's the preferred play that we wanted to do. I didn't do it, but okay. And you see how we play the hand there. For example, how he would play the hand. We just called with kings on the flop because we are just awareing that this board is actually crushing his range. And if I'm going to raise my kings and aces, he's gonna have easy time playing against me, and I don't want to. I want to have still a good to be aware that this board is hitting him when he calls a squeeze. There, he's generally calling squeezes with hands like I would say because the weaker player is there, he's gonna call like all the sevens, eights, nines, tens, jacks. Uh, his Broadway is gonna be like draws, good draws like King Ten. He's gonna have Jack Ten suited. He's gonna have a lot of combo draws with the clubs. So I just have to be aware. Okay, his range is really really strong, and I have to be playing it passive. So I had to be playing defensive. I mean to protect my range, and I defended. And on the turn, I see okay, we have a clear bet, and we are betting really small and he's now showing. So this indicates that he is not aware of his range and how to play it because when he's donking the flop, I think with queens you want to continue on the turn, and when you go with the shove, you're basically like I know I'm checking behind a lot of tens on the turn. I check behind some jacks, on the turn. So when he shows like what is calling you, if I'm bluffing with a hand like ace jack of diamonds, I'm not gonna call a shove. If I'm bluffing with hand like a king jack of diamonds, um, so I would generally bet turn with queens. Again, with a small size on the turn, you have a lot of still a lot of bluffs you can have, like a king 10, like a ace 10. You can just bet them based on the strength of your range. You can just bet them again on the turn, and he's now jamming against my 1/4, which I mean, just based on your range. If he had aces there, okay, cool. I mean, it's clear value shove. But with queens, is it value shove? No. Because I'm checking behind hands that's gonna call a shove like tens because you don't want to bet tens there. You have like a really good blocking the bluffs. Um, you have a really good check behind, and yep, I would definitely check behind. And then he's like jam. He's basically giving me easy time with my bluffs, and a lot of my bluffs will be actually low quality bluffs because if I'm having a big bluff, big like a combo draw, I'm gonna check behind most of the time because I don't want to get jammed on. If I'm having like a 10 of clubs there, uh, and I have like open ender like a king 10 of clubs, uh, generally, yeah. So we're gonna go with the 4 bet here. Let's see. We are actually mixing, let's see, big blind versus cutter. So he's on the lower side. I'm gonna be calling. We are mixing a calls and a four bet. When we are deeper, I mean, we are calling like a half of the ace king. We are calling always on the flop. Big blind versus cutoff. We are calling always on the turn. His bluffs looks like ace queen off should be calling a lot. We are jamming now. So his bluffs on the turn, hands like a king jack suited. I would bluff king 10. I would bluff ace 4, ace 5. I would bluff ace jack. It would be interesting if the blank river was there. I want to see what he would do with the king 10, king jack. Because on the river, it's going to be pretty hard to fold me out of ace king against a big blind range, against the cutoff. And against that he, I feel like dynamic, he's like, He three-bet us after this hand that we won like 3 times. So definitely I wanted to see a blank, actually. I want to see a blank. When the ace hits, he's gonna have like a lot of ace 4, ace 5. I'm gonna jam. Um, what I would turn there into bluff would be some pocket pairs that I called on the turn still that are calling the turn. Some of them. We are still having the. We are still having. I think like tens are bad to call because you're blocking 10. Jacks are bad to call, you're blocking jack, but nines are good to call. I think eights. With fives and fours, you're blocking ace five and ace four. So I like these like medium pairs. And when the ace hits, you see in this when the ace hits, it's pretty hard to find intuitive bluffs. So if you're not bluffing like that, this lower pocket pairs, you're not bluffing anything. That's the case. You're not bluffing anything if you're not bluffing pocket sevens here. And do I want to turn king queen into bluff? That's the question in my head because blocking like an ace king that potentially should be betting the river, but I don't know if this guy would. Um, yep. You see, like you see how it's hard to find bluffs here. So in my head, the first idea would I would just bluff with my pocket pairs because we have a 150 shove on the river, and of course I'm shoving ace king. So my value range is like queens. We have queens. We have ace queen. We have ace king. So I need a bunch of bluffs, guys. I just need a bunch of bluffs there. And I would bet that pool doesn't have like non-bluffs in this spot. Or really, really rare one does. We are calling majority of ace king off in this situation. Like I think around 70% is calling. I have my randomization method also, and I like to use it. And here we 3-bet get the board where it's heavily hitting us. Checking behind. And I'm thinking about the size on the river if he checks. Which size do we want to use? And we want to think, okay, how our range looks like. What are we calling here on the flop? We have ace queen. That is ace queen suited is always calling the flop. We have some busted flush draws. With which size we want to bluff it? I think actually we want to be using like 24, like repping ace queen, I think. Value range ace queen, ace jack of hearts that is floating the flop, ace 10 of hearts. So our value range is that ace x mixing with some like ace king that we did check behind, and our bluffs should be in that line. I don't like a jam there. I think it's feel really bad because our value range is strictly our value range is like ace 10, ace jack, because some of ace queen is stabbing the turn. So ace 10, ace jack of hearts is always in the checking behind turn line, and some ace queens. And I would like mostly check with the ace of spade. So that is how our range actually looks like. And now when we see our value, we're gonna still have some hands like a jack 10 suited of spade that we would hate to bet and get jammed on, like a queen jack of spade, and I think we want to put the bluffs in this size that we used. I feel it's basically the best like that. We're gonna check behind. If he checks again, we're gonna go with into the small bet check bet line. We're gonna rep hand like a Jack X, and when he blocks the river, our hand is a fold with the blockers that we have now. A lot of his hand that will delay it will be hands like a Queen Jack, Jack 9. I don't think he's ever delaying like Ace X, and his value range is with c betting 77%. It looks bleak. I don't see like a value range that's delaying. Maybe sixes and sevens are there, but he's c betting 77, and he now basically reps a good 10 plus. Let's see his delay bet river. You see how much he has trash into delay line, and he's never doing it with the a6. So our hand is actually decent call. He basically reps good 10, but a lot of 10 we block like a king 10 and a jack 10. Good 10 and a 4x. He's not bluffing with the king of diamond though, so in this line. So having it is not that bad. And he's gonna have like all of these hands that didn't bet the flop. He's just have to bluff it on the river, and I'm not gonna sure which size he's gonna use. But when he goes with an overbet, a lot of 10x is actually betting the flop. Um, all of these 10x of spades also are betting the flop, so it's actually, yeah, I like the call. His delay range is really bluffy from what I saw, and we did play 44k hands, so I have a pretty good idea how he plays. And I actually like this bigger size to call my hand. I'm gonna be calling when we have a X-Man there and bet small the flop. We unfortunately doesn't hit anything on the ace 3-3. When X-Man is here, I don't like to squeeze the hand. He's, let's see, fold to squeeze, how it looks like. Nothing, so I would squeeze King Jack. I would squeeze Ace Jack, but I don't want to squeeze Jack. Now I just want to play it in position, pretty much. But yep, we didn't hit anything there. The flop is pretty much, I think it's better for him because this guy would actually, I think he's gonna have a lot of ace of X that's calling his playing 38-20. That indicates a lot of calling range. He's gonna have a bunch of ace 5, ace 4 off hands. I don't think it's really great spot. 2 hours and 18, guys. Is it enough for the uh, goodbye video? I think it had pretty interesting spots, pretty interesting hands. We did talk about pretty interesting strategies. I don't see many deep strategies like that, and that people are talking about. And on my Discord, we have really couple of really good players, and that are really active. And join my Discord, guys. I'm gonna put the link of my Discord channel into description of the video. Who didn't join. We have really good and nice players. We have some mid-stake crushers. Uh, Playing a lot of them is also playing on Poker Stars. So definitely we're gonna go with bigger size here and play 2-street. I mean, okay, Jack's got there. Uh, backdoor. I don't like block in this situation when he has less than a pot. Um, I'm gonna jam still. This jack is good for bluffing range, so let's go with the block on the river. I would say that we are the one that will probably have a 10x played like this into this into this run out, and the guy just calls with pocket fours. We would have an easy call against him, but in this situation we're not gonna have to. We can't call basically. I'm gonna go with the big delay size here. We're gonna have hands like Queen 10, Jack 10 into the delay range. The river is, I think, check behind. We're still beating now some hands like Ace 4, like Ace 8 of hearts, like Ace 7 of hearts. Um, yep, basically that's it. We're gonna bluff the ones that we still have a lot of value on the turn. So definitely I like delay and bet river, but maybe we can just also bluff this. I'm not sure. Let's go to 10. We are a little bigger. 6-7 suited wants to be three betting. King deuce. We are calling 6-7. Pretty great board for a range. He snips the checks. We're gonna go 20%. We're gonna go to 11.5. He looks like a 10 to me, kind of like a 10x basically. The river against the block we are gonna fold. We can continue there, but generally I want to be. I mean, 6-7 is not that bad to be bet, but I want to be. In which runouts I want to bluff? There's the question that I'm asking myself. My range, how it looks like. We have jacks. Basically, we are uncapped, but he doesn't know that. My strategy, 150 blinds deep plus, is actually just to have a call range of the 4 bet, so I'm not gonna have anything as a 5 bet range. Um, so I have everything, but if he doesn't know it, then it's not not that great. Um, and I'm gonna go with an orbit on the river, 1.5. I don't see point. Like he's playing 94, 60, 99, and suddenly he starts checking queen jack on the turn on the deuce. I don't see like any value. He's also blocking the. I mean, Queen Jack is always, but absolutely always a bet on the turn because you are actually unblocking the bluffs. You have the Jack, and it's then less chance that I have a Jack that would actually bluff the river. So yeah, I just don't understand like this. I mean, he's playing like 94. His double barrel is like highly betting all draws, highly bluffy, and he just checked behind queen jack. I think against him I will actually block the river against queen 3. Basically, we can block all pairs. every pair we're gonna have, we're gonna block. So a lot of value we're gonna have. So let's think about the range. If he has understanding about our strategy, we're gonna have here pocket eights, nines, tens, jacks, queens, kings, aces, queen, jack, king, king, jack. We're gonna have bunch of value hands here, and yeah, six, seven of diamonds with we don't have we just can't hit the backdoor flush draw. That's one down down to betting, but we're only using 20%, so I think it's fine. Yep. I mean, we're gonna still have a lot of value. So generally, when I bluff, I want to be able to bluff on the river. But the problem is, are like good bluffing cards. Good bluffing runouts would be like a jack, queen, and king basically. And our blockers suck. So I don't mind to just give up in this situation with the hand that we had. Yep, that's generally that. A lot of interesting hand today. A lot of. We have the new table ready. King 10 we're gonna open. A lot of interesting hands, interesting concepts, interesting situations. So I actually like the session that we played. Eh, a lot of guys on my Discord are asking me to make the video about donks and blocks in the new video because I say that donks and blocks are the two highest EV today in today's games, highest EV gains. That means by knowing the donk and block strategy can give you the amazing amount of the EV because currently in today games people are having really trouble to respond to it in a GTO way because to be able to know how to play against the donk you need to go into the pio and put all of these small pots and small donk spots and just to study that. Nobody cares about it. I did care because in the tournaments I needed to have these principles and use it a lot. And I play a lot of MTTs. Basically, every big poker series I'm playing, I played Scoop. I mostly play till 1K. If it's really, really good 1K tournament, uh, I'm gonna play first satellite for it if I can just qualify myself. But that's like the highest I play. And I started before a year and I started with like $10 buy-in just to have a feeling for the pool how they play. And now I play basically so on a big series I play most of the tournaments. And I faced a lot of players that used a lot of donks, a lot of blocks, and I didn't use it before. That was like, you can see, it was back in time, 1 year and few months. And I decided, okay, I think I want to learn more about the donks and blocks. It looks really really awesome because, when you do it, uh, it's so tough to respond to it because when they were donking to me, I was always thinking, well, how okay they block, how my range looks like, what are they doing, and I just thought what I should be raising here. I mean, it's pretty unclear to me in that time of my play. It was pretty unclear to me. Okay, how I need. Okay, it's easy when you have a clear call, but what I need to raise. What are the and I was always thinking, okay, these are the logical things. And when you go to PO and you see you have a lot of unintuitive raises, and you then need to learn, okay, why these hands are raising, what the PO is trying to accomplish, because it has to be logic there. It's not like a random hand. In many spots, like a bunch of random hands. It has to be with blockers, sun blockers. It has to be with the bottom of your range. But generally, bottom of your range play is play in position. So when you're bluffing with the bottom of your range, it's generally happening when you're in position and you got checked on the river and you're in the bottom of your range. Then the most of bottom of the range plays Solar is doing. Um, because then Solar generally likes to bluff linearly. But out of position, it has far more to it's far more connected with blockers, unblockers, with pseudo blockers, and with range distribution. And that's the damn problem because you just have to be learning that to know that. And basically, thanks to the MTTs, I wanted to go deep into the to that because I want to know. I just I also had a few streams and I said like on my stream I said like what is this guy doing? He's like donking in this spot doesn't have any sense. Like my range is good here. And I actually go to P and see okay he has to donk like and in many of these spots I was lost and really good regs were but that was like top of the regs that were doing that like 99% of the pool were doing absolute nothing close to that but like these best regs were doing that and I just wanted to learn and that helped me through cash tremendously. So interesting hand here. I think when he tones down there I think he has we have now a clear call. What he did rep with this, he bet polarized on the flop and he's turning down. To me, looks like trying to induce. Uh, Queen 10, I think for sure it could go into the bigger size, but it can also induce maybe. But generally, they will not play like this. So traps like a full houses has sense, and like value betting a jack X on the river. That's like that, and like complete bluffs. So we're gonna see what it is. He will bet the jack, which is okay. Which shouldn't be actually happening because it's multi-way pot, but I mean, and generally in position you don't want to do a lot of blocking, especially in the multi-way spot where we can have aces really easy. Uh, we can have the board because we're gonna do a lot of checking. We can just have like a set on the flop, two pair, a bunch of really strong hands, multi-way, and he's value betting. The middle pair on the ace run out where he did bet the turn smaller and we're gonna call all the face X hands. You see, this is not a bad spot to donk. We have the ace jack. He has the ace jack. Um, we have the king queen. We have a queen 10. We have all of these hands, and we are basically he shouldn't be betting queens very often. And I think there he's gonna actually go with the he should be go with the bet check bet line quite often. And but still I think my hand we want to trap with like straights into this line and I'm just gonna go with an overbet actually here. So my play will be block all overbet. So let's see his check folds. His check fold is really big and he looks to me like a queen X. We don't block ace queen, we don't block queen jack. Okay, I'm just gonna go with an overbet. And here I'm gonna go with a big raise. He should be overbetting or blocking if he knows how to play poker. He had ace queen. On the turn, he wants to overbet or small bet. Two turns doesn't have any sense because I have the strongest queens. So he can say, I have a better than a queen, and by this size, he doesn't say anything, and he needs to say, I have a better than a queen, and I want to put my bluffs there, or I have a queenish hand, and I want to block and get value from river's hands. This size is trash, and it seems that the guy doesn't know what he's doing because this size is awful in this situation. It's not good enough to be polarized. It's mergy size, and you're big blind versus button. You're three betting king queen off. So what are your best queens? And with a two pair plus, you want to go polar and attack my check behind range. So clearly indication that he's a bad player, and he's winning on my sample because he's running insanely good. But this type of player Aggression 33. I mean, when I see players like this, I just have to give him back the red, because you have like players like this, you have players like this, and this guy's better like 3 times than them. From what I see here, like the best reg, in my opinion, on the stars is Gacho and Anarchy. They're just like we're mainly calling here. We don't want to be donking because A doesn't have any connectivity with our range, so we don't want to be donking it, and we're just going to be calling and protecting our range with the 2 pair is the way to go. We have a clear call of the shove on the river. We are beating only by 6s on this flop. We looks like a king 10, king 9. He hit the 2 pair on the river, bluffed with the 6x. But generally, doesn't he's repping polar with that size on the river. I don't see us jamming. I think he's saying he should be saying that he has like he doesn't have hand like a king 8. He doesn't have hand like a king 4 suited calling in this situation. So when he steps the turn, his value range in a multi-way pot, you see, like he shouldn't be having here hand ever like a king queen or king jack, because you have the weaker player going to tribet king queen, you're going to tribet king jack suited. So uh, hands that prefer calling in position are hands like a suited connectors there and like king 9 suited. Uh, Pocket pairs most of the time, so mostly pocket pairs, and his flatting range is like 2.7%, so mainly pocket pairs. We saw some, okay, we saw some suited broadways, but that would be like on the button against the reg probably. Um, and when he steps the turn there, uh, he used the flop the size that is GTO, that should be B, and the turn he goes polar. So he's all betting on the turn that he's saying I have pocket 6s or pocket deuces. Uh, doesn't have any 2 pairs there. King 8 suited, possible, but it's gonna probably check behind on the flop. So it's gonna probably check behind on the flop. So he's saying he has pocket deuces, pocket 6s. Most of the time he's saying he has that. And on the river, when he bets like this, uh, first, first question in my mind was why wouldn't you jam with pocket deuces and pocket sixes? That was my first impression in this chat. Why wouldn't you jam? But he wanted to value bet a little thinner with it. He wouldn't want to jam. But we can't put him on a 4-6 because he's polar on the turn. He says he has trips. Okay, 20. I'm gonna go 22 there. Checking behind here, following the river. We're gonna follow the river. We have kings on aces against this guy. I ran to aces on him like 3 or 4 times with kings. We finally get one. In a fucking 3 max, you get that. I mean, just okay. Table number 4. Again, the guy checks here. I'm gonna go actually check raising the turn. And I'm gonna go with the small overbet here. I'm thinking here actually. Think he's gonna float a lot of king queen hands, and with this size, I'm not sure what he reps. I'm actually gonna call him. It doesn't have a sense. If he's having a straight, he's betting bigger. If he's having flush, he's betting bigger. This size doesn't have any sense. He's like repping some jack X with block ace jack, and he probably shouldn't be betting that on the river. So yeah, he just looks. It looks to me like some king queen or ace ten of hearts, something like that. Also, good action today. A lot of players and not a lot of good regs. Basically, if not, if Gacho and Anarchy are not playing here, there will not be a good regs. Gacho and Anarchy are really, really good players. And also, I enjoy playing against them. It's always, I mean, it's really, really interesting, intense when we play. I just feel, it's when you're playing with good opponents, you need to just be be best version of yourself. Think in the what is this here going? 70.5, 7.5 BBs. What is going on? Short table that's going on. I don't like these short tables. I don't know why I actually come there. I'm gonna check behind ace jack against this guy. You can check raise, check call. Think both is okay. We're gonna go small. He looks like five, sixes, sevens most of the time. He calls the ace queen there. Ace queen off he calls, which is never a call in this spot. He doesn't have blockers. Queen got there. Ace queen with the club is playing as a stab. There's like no ace queen he can have, and he suddenly has. We are going big against this player. We're gonna bet range here. We're gonna use 20%. I'm gonna check behind. We have ace of spade, which is nice. And we're gonna jam now. It sucks that we are blocking the ace x, and it's hard for him to make a call there. Yeah, pretty unfortunate spot. But I don't like to go like 80 because if you're bluffing, if you're having here like a pocket tens, you want to turn it into bluff. Yeah, but it just has sense to go shove. I hate this short table. I'm gonna leave immediately just to find a new one. And I'm on the wait list on three of them. Okay. Pocket sevens in the multi-way against the step. Let's see in the multi-way pop-up um, what the guy's doing. Step flop 53%. Step flop faulty check raise 0. Step flop he step with pocket fours on this board. I don't mind fold with pocket sevens. Jack deuce suited 3-bet. We probably want to call there actually and play. He's stepping a lot of pocket pairs for protection. He's gonna step fours, fives for sure. We lost time, but it's what he had like a 9-10, 3-4 suited. You see, he's calling these junk hands. Why is the question? Probably again because of the big blind. He wants to play the pots. He played the 4-6 suited. I didn't know that, but now we know that his strategy involves playing hands like this in position when the. Let me see if the fish was actually here on the when he played 4-6 suited against us when we had. And this is pretty interesting. Let's see. Let's try to find it. These hands are actually never calls, ever calls. So I'm really interesting to know why did he call. And actually here we are on the big blind, so only way he can think that if he see us as a big fish, so then he wants to play against us. That's the only way. Okay. Few more minutes, guys. I'm gonna finish. The NBA final game is starting. It will be probably 4-1 today. I want to watch. Uh, let's tribute this. That was the thing that this guy he didn't four bet. Let's see. And you remember from the last stream when I told you when they are called calling a three bet, we don't generally it shouldn't be happening. So their range is a mystery. They will sometimes have pocket deuces, pocket sixes, sometimes queen jack suited, king queen off. You generally don't know. We have clear call here. Let's see, he is call 3 bet 29%. Block river here. We have the like really great call here. And against this size. I don't think he's ever value betting here hand like a 10x. He shouldn't be value betting jacks. If I think that he would, I can jam, but I think here we actually have a clear call. With ace x, he should be bet bigger size. So okay, he has trap. He did trap us. Clear call here with our hand. He did go be sneaky and trap us. Everybody seems that likes to trap us. Um, Size on the river, if he did block, I would probably wanted to shove actually. If he blocked the turn and blocked the river, it would say to me that he's like really betting 10 or maybe pocket jacks. And pocket jacks and a 10, I don't think they're good calls when you have many ace-x hands. But against him, let's see, he's went to showdown. Yeah, against him, I would be really tempting to shove, really. But play like this, when he bets like this, I don't know, really bad size in my opinion. What is he saying he has? He's basically still wrapping an ace here and better. And yeah, we are unblocking everything, have a clear call. And now I even like more my check behind on the flop. And generally we don't know the range. It says 38% of range is called calling a three bet. That's for sure not it's not correct, but it can be a bunch of random hands. They usually have bunch of random stuff, and whenever it's like that, um, I generally, sometimes I see like pocket fours, pocket threes. Sometimes I see yesterday the guy had like a 4-6 suited. Uh, I'm rarely calling Jack 9, mostly three betting, but with my randomization method, I'm gonna call here. Let's see, do I want to check raise against him? Yes, I want. And size, I think 3x is way to go. We want to be check raising king queen, king jack for value. So definitely hands like that. Jack 9 has a lot of sense. We're gonna check raise here. We're gonna go 3x. Checking on the 4, really bad because it's our only set actually is pocket fours. So we just have to be passive in this situation. It's really bad to stop playing when when the tables are like this. Really, really. So guys, just to conclude, uh, I'm not gonna be for the like next 10 days. I'm not gonna be here. Uh, I'm asking you still to come to my Discord, and if you like the videos, uh, just like it, give a thumbs up because by that the YouTube will make it more seeable, and I will generally make more videos if you like that. And a lot of you is come to my Discord and say that you actually really like the content, and I'm also giving my 100%. I'm always saying everything I know. Even a lot of regs are watching me, and that they can take advantage of what I'm saying if they know how to do it. But no matter what, I'm gonna always say what I think it's a good thing to do, what I think you should be doing, and if you want to, if you appreciate that, then you can help me grow the channel. And by doing that, I'm gonna be having far more motivation to make more videos, to make. And I'm also learning day by day. I try to improve myself. I try to become better and better. That's my basically goal. Now, when I go back to iPoker, I'm gonna do videos from there. I'm gonna probably also stream from there, and yeah, I I would just appreciate if you like it. If you don't like it, then basically you can dislike it, whatever. But if you like it, I will be definitely appreciate your support. And yes, I'm gonna always give uh, everything I know. Whatever I do in life, I was always like that. So there's no other way. Uh, that's it. See you in the 10 days, and good luck. Enjoy your time. Enjoy playing poker. I really enjoy playing game. I always, basically always play when I'm in the mood to play. Let's play this one more hand, and that's it. I enjoy playing, and I don't play if I'm not in the mood to play. So I really like playing. I enjoy poker. I really love the game, and I don't see like that. I didn't find like anybody that likes it the way I did because for me, it's just like the best game in the world. So definitely, I want to become the best version of me, and I will try to improve day by day. And by going into my Discord and talking to it with you guys, that you're giving me a lot of hands, a lot of strategies that we are talking about, a lot of questions. I also improve my game, and I also thank you for that. Okay, let's play this game. Last hand on the of the video. We are calling basically the turn. He's having 7%. That indicates nines plus, and the guy is really passive on the rivers. His range is like 7% would be nines, ace king, ace queen, and suited broadways. And here he would be need to bluff queen jack without equity, king queen without equity, ace jack, stuff like that. And I'm not sure if this guy is doing that. So, and he's low C, but I'm gonna just fold the flop. I fold the turn. I apologize. So that's it, guys. See you in 10 days. Good luck. Bye.